inotropians and miners in particular to another crazy mining test. And this is the fourth crazy mining test, and this test I called mining high and low. And what I have done is doing 5 runs, 100 drops in each run, and each 100 drop run I have divided in 50 drops at high locations and 50 drops at lower locations. And I have been mining here on the next island in 3 different locations, these 5 runs. Here at Crimson Fields on this mountain, quite annoying because it's a lot of snow drakes here, but with the help of my old trusty Sleipnir I survived almost. That was the high drops here, and then at the low drops I ran around in the brown area surrounding this white area, so it was quite a big difference in height. Then I did 2 runs, 2 100 drop runs at Seiferton Gardens, on top of the mountains at Seiferton Gardens, and the low drops I did at Hillside Hideouts, and I can recommend that. It's mob free, flat, and really a nice place to mine at. And also I did 25 drops. I did 25 drops at Hillside Hideout and 25 drops at Boras Rock and 50 drops at the mountains here on Seiferton Gardens. And then I also did one test at Bustamite Forest, and I can really recommend. It doesn't at all look like it looks on the map. This 90-degree turn here is kind of funny on the map, but that's not what it looks like when you get there. It has this enormous ridge surrounding the lowland, and it's mob free, and you have a perfect view of the landscape. So I did 50 drops running along that ridge, and then I did 50 drops at the lowland below in the forest or the marsh, also full of drakes. And I shouldn't talk so much about depth. This is more a test if it's good or worse mining at the top of mountains compared to mining at lower points. But depth is really interesting, and I will show in another video a tool I found, the Mining Finder tool made by Morat. And that's really awesome if you want to pick the correct finder for the depth you are searching at, because there are public information out there about the different resources and the average find depths for them. So that's it. I start this intro at the end because I've done all the tests, and I will show you at the end of the video the results. And I'm not sure I designed this test very well, so it's really hard to do any conclusions. But anyway, it was fun to try and compare mining high and low. And I just have to show you the view here. It's really spectacular. And I think this is the highest point. So that's it. I hope you enjoy my crazy mining test number 4, and now I show you some clips of this little adventure. So this was the tool I was talking about previously, even though I forgot its name, sorry. It's called Mining Finder tool. It's made by Morat, who has the site entropiahub.com, which has some information about Monria and Tolan, and he seems to be a very good coder. I think he works professionally as a coder, and he has made this tool for us miners in Entropia. And as you know, probably by now, on all mining finders you have information about the average depth, the average search depth you have on your finder. So what he has done is adding all the finders in Entropia. As far as I know, it's all the finders and their corresponding average search depth. And then he has listed all the resources here. And when you pick a finder here in the list, some of this gets green. That means that finder reach the average search depth for these resources. And from what I understand, he has used the data from the old site Little Big Mining Log, which collected drop information for several years, many years, what people found and at what depth. So I don't think this updates in real time as Little Big Mining Log did, but I think it's very useful anyway. So how do you use this? So if we start from the top, let's say you have an F101, which is a rookie finder. Maybe you start with that. It has an average search depth of 263.7 meters. And here on the right side, he has added a margin field. So this 200 means 200 meters up or down in depth from the average search depth. And then if you have tired your finder, you can add how many depth enhancers in the tire slots you have. So if I click on this, some should get green soon. Here. Now, you see at the Akek stone, it's probably found on Monria. No, sorry, Tolan, I think. It says average search depth is 537 meters. That means the F101 with 4 depth enhancers reach 342 meters average search depth. And with the margin 200 meters up or down, it means it reaches, if you add 200 to 342, you reach 537. So it's 542. As I am trying to find dark Lysterium on next island, I will try to target the depth, the average search depth for dark Lysterium with my finder. So if we check dark Lysterium, where do we have dark Lysterium? Here. It says 582 meters average search depth. So I want to try to get as close to that, because I'm a believer. So I believe that trying to reach the average search depth is a good thing. I don't know. Only the experts know how it actually works. So I pick my F105 and it says, yeah, now I reach the average search depth. But I want to get even closer to 582 meters. Now it says 522. So I add a couple of depth enhancers. Now it's 561. I'm getting closer. And 600. Yeah. If I add that, I get much higher average search depth. So I think I suffice with 2 depth enhancers, and then the average search depth will be 600. So you see all these greens means that with this margin of 200 meters up and down in depth, I reach all these green resources average search depth. Yeah, so that's basically how it works. If you want to know how depth actually influence your returns and what you can find, I recommend you experiment yourself, because I can't say. I don't know. But this much I know. So that's what I'm going to go for. Of course, as to screw up my tests, I got a couple of drops in this first run, a sizable list. So that should be around 25 ped or so. So I'm standing here digging it, and I'll continue after this. That mountain over there is probably the highest point on next island, and up there is Kong's Rest, so that's where I'm going to try and do some high drops. No, I think I lied. Kong's Rest is not the highest point. It's 600 meters ish, yeah, at the landing platform here at the top of this mountain. There is Kong's Rest, and in front of me you have Seiferton Gardens, and those mountains are up to 900 meters, so they are higher. So this is the second run in this crazy mining test, 4 test runs. And yesterday I tried to mine at Seiferton Gardens, Hillside Hideout and Boras Rock. And the 51st drops I did at the high points here at Seiferton Gardens, and 25 drops at Hillside Hideout and 25 at Boras Rock. I can't say I got any conclusive thoughts about this. The finds I got was quite different. The hit rate was about the same, but here at the high points I got mostly list and oil and some other stuff. This place at Hillside Hideout was a quite good mining spot. No mobs, but not very interesting finds. The best location was here at Boras Rock. You see all these green little dots? This is a lower place you can mine. I got quite lucky, so I had one sizable list, so it saved the run. It was not as much TT profit, but after markup it was around 40 ped plus. Today I'm going to try here at Bustamite Forest. It has some swamp area down here with some nasty mobs, but I'm going to run along these hillsides and do the 50 drops, the first 50 drops. Then I'm not sure where I'm going to try the last 50. I think I'm going to Crimson Fields. I've been mining there before. And if I copy a waypoint link and check the height, that's 167 meters. So it's good enough to compare high and low. So I hope it turns out good today too, and will be interesting to see if it's easy to run along these mountainsides. Quite spectacular view, I must say, all around. Yeah, really nice. So the second test in the Crazy Mining Test 4 series is beginning now. Trying to hide here from the death drakes in their swamp area at Bustamite Forest. I think I found an even higher spot than the ones at Sifton Gardens, the mountains there. And it's here west of Crimson Fields in this white area. And it's 967 meters, so it's pretty high. And I'm on the highest spot in this white snowy area. It's spectacular view from here. You have very nice view over the entire next island. So I'm gonna try to mine, do 50 drops in this white area, and then maybe here at Crimson Fields or below this white area. We'll see. Difference? Well, it wasn't actually that bad on top of this white mountain. I had like 15 different resources and no oil and only one hit of Listerium, and I got Pretonium and Sørensen and Ignisium, so quite decent. The only annoying thing are all the snow drakes up there. So that was 50 drops up there. Now I'm going to run around this white area, and the height are 350 meters, and up there was around 700. So it will be interesting to see if there is any difference if I mine around this white mountain. Just because it's so awesome running along this mountain ridge at Bustamite Forest, I have to recommend it again. It's really, really cool. And you can drop, I think, up to 100 drops with a good distance between the drops running along this ridge. And then you have the Bustamite Forest Lowland down here with all the nasty drakes. And you're surrounded, you have a good view over the sea, and you're surrounded by mountains, so it's really a beautiful area. So I strongly recommend it, not for its profitability, but just because it's awesome. So this is the log, the crazy log after the Crazy Mining Test 4. Mining high and low, and I won't go into any further detail of each log for these runs, but I scroll through it if you want to see what kind of resources I found at the different locations. I can just say that you have high 50 means those drops I did at high locations, and low 50 were drops at lower locations. And the height, that was the height I was standing at when I dropped the probes. So first run I mined at Sifton Gardens, the high drops, and then Hillside Hideout and Boras Rock for the low drops. The second run I went to Bustamite Forest, the ridge, quite nice to mine at, and then tested at the Bustamite Forest Lowland, or the marsh, where you have all the drakes. In the third run I went to the white snowy mountain west of Crimson Fields, did some high drops, and then below that mountain 50 drops. In the fourth run I went back to Sifferton Gardens, Hillside Hideout and Boras Rock, and in the last run back to Bustamite Forest. So let's show you the results. Did I get rich? No, as usual. I didn't get rich playing Entropia. I only had one profitable run, TT-wise, and that was the first run. And I had 2 runs with a profit after markup, and that was, you see this green bar. That's the, if it's above 0, it's profit after markup. The rest of the runs kind of sucked, but overall after markup I lost 11 ped. So that was the results. You see also the number of resource types and the average area markup value. And the average area markup value are just a simple average calculation of each resource markup value. So I call that an average area markup value. And then if we look at the claim hit rate, I think this just shows that there is no difference in hit rate mining at high locations or low locations. It doesn't matter at all. So as you can see, the blue and red are mining at high locations, and the yellow and green are at lower locations. And you can see there is no significant difference in the amount of claims I got mining at low or high. Here in the fourth run I had a lot of ore claims at the high locations, but in the fifth run I had a lot of N-matrix claims at high locations. But I can't say there is any difference. It doesn't suck. It's equally good or bad, depending on how you see it. And here you can see a table of how many claims I got in total. One little interesting observation is that the best run I had was the first run. There I had 67 claims in total. The worst one was the last run. There I had only 54 claims. So that's maybe something to test. The initial claim rate, to see how many claims you get for, let's say, 10-20 drops, if that can predict how good it is in that situation to mine. I haven't tested that. Maybe it's not crazy enough to test that. So that's it. I wrap this up and try to think out some other crazy mining test. But to conclude, you don't have to be afraid mining on top of mountains. And it's actually kind of good because you don't have much mobs on a lot of mountains on next island. So you're safe. And in particular, I again recommend the ridge at Bustamite Forest to mine at. It's really awesome. Not just for it's mob free, but for the spectacular views over next island. So thank you for watching. I hope it helped somehow, and I hope I see you in the next video. And please write a comment if you have Anything to add to this mining test? Okay, bye bye.